Hello and welcome to the Gabba in Brisbane, and you join us for D-Day for the Sydney Swans. 22 home and away rounds for this season, almost done, and it comes down to this, the final piece in the puzzle to decide the makeup of the 8 finalists for 2010. And for the Sydney Swans, the equation is fairly simple. Win tonight here at the Gabba and they win themselves a home final next week at ANZ Stadium in Sydney against Carlton. But lose tonight here at the Gabba and the Sydney Swans will not have a home final. They will play Hawthorn away in an elimination game at the MCG next week. Those positions there in the top 8 will not change if Sydney lose tonight. Collingwood today lost, but they did win the minor premiership by half a game. Geelong, St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs will make up the top 4 in that order. So it'll be Collingwood and the Bulldogs, Geelong and St Kilda. But what happens beyond that, 5, 6, 7 and 8, is the big question, of course. And Sydney can move up a couple of spaces to 5th and play Carlton if they win their home final by winning tonight. Let's head down to ground level. Joining us a couple of men who know what finals are all about. A man who played in 3 premierships for the Brisbane Lions, Alistair Lynch, is with a man who played in 1 flag, but he did win the Norm Smith medal in it, Tony Shaw.
Thanks, Dwayno. Yeah, magnificent conditions down here at ground level. It's been about 25 degrees during the day, and the surface is near perfect, sure. As we see the Brisbane Lions run out on the ground. And it's been a disappointing year for the Lions. They won their first 4 games, yet we see them in round 22 going into a review of their football department and their list as we look at their lineup.
Well, we have a look at their lineup. No Jonathan Brown at all, also no Favola, so that allows some of the younger players. We see Brennan and Mitch Clark has been very good over the last fortnight. They've been picked up forward. I really like the year of Brent Staker, one of those senior players brought into this list this season. He's really stood up well, and Merritt's just coming into some form, being out with a number of games through injury.
And the Sydney Swans have had a great record over the Brisbane Lions of late. They've won 8 of the last 10 games. In the last 3 weeks, they've been in very good touch. 2 very big outs tonight. Daniel Hanbury, the NAB Rising Star favourites out of the team, and Ty Kennelly.
Well, they are 2 big outs, and I see Reece Shaw's now been taken back to the back pocket, probably because Kennelly, Shaw's been playing as a defensive forward, so he's gone back there. Still got a lot of run out of there, though. Grundy's great as a big player, can run. Matt Malcheski, and as I said, Reece Shaw. Adam Goods has set up, and one bloke there, Brett Kirk's been in sensational form.
As you said in the pre-game, Shorey, Brisbane are going to be very unpredictable going into the forward line, or the forward 50, without Jonathan Brown. He's one man that could stand up.
Riscatelli to Brennan. And he wipes his hands.
There's a bit of dew starting to form on the ground down there. As you said, it's been a magnificent day, 23, 24 degrees. Perfect conditions tonight.
Someone was talking about Buddy Franklin's arc when he comes to kick the ball, whether it should be close. Just watch Jared Brennan right at the end when he comes in as a left footer. If he's looking for distance, normally gets out about 2 or 3 metres to the left. That time it was straight. Knows he's going to kick the distance.
He might have kicked it straight. Absolutely perfect. On Jesse White, the Queensland boys.
That's a better matchup for the Brisbane Lions rather than McGrath, who had the mismatch at one stage on Jesse White. Good body pressure or a body spoil from Daniel Merritt. Just get your chest into the back and make it very difficult to have your balance in the air.
Rockcliffe, sanctuary of the boundary line, is what he was seeking. Adam Good sees it out. Will win Sydney's goal kicking for the 2nd season in a row. Adam Goods, 38 last year, 40 so far this year. So playing the majority up forward again and standing there again tonight inside 50, hoping for a quick entry. Doesn't come. Ball up.
It's a slow start, isn't it? Not a lot of speed on the ball, carrying the ball through. They're just testing each other out at the moment to see, or probably trying to test out where their matchups are.
Looks like a nervous start from the Sydney Swans, which is a little surprising. You would have thought if they had home final all wrapped up, fair enough to put the cue in the rack, but just a bit sluggish.
Jack to Shaw. Here's their first inside 50.
Good kick.
And Goods left that for Meredith, who slipped in front of him. And Goods called him into it and protected him. So Brett Meredith, who was a late inclusion into Sydney's lineup against the Dogs last week when Ryan O'Keefe dropped out. Ryan O'Keefe back into the lineup this week, but Brett Meredith has retained his spot.
I don't know about Lukey Powell playing as a small defender on Reece Shaw. I'd rather throw him into the pack to see if he can get off Reece Shaw, I think, especially around the midfield.
6th game of the season, and he's entrenched if he keeps kicking like that. Brett Meredith up, Merritt cuts it off half back. Campbell to Brennan. Look away, handball to Stiller. Handball to Power, who wore Paul Roos's number on his back as a kid. Lukey Powell to Proud. He heads wider. Tough ball. Collier manhandled, dragged down, pushed in the back a little.
Yeah, fell over on it. Oh, that's 50 metres.
I think the Sydney Swans were a little unlucky in this first instance here.
Well, Jetta thought that this was going away from dropping the ball.
Yeah.
But when he landed on him by falling over on his back, the umpire called it, so they were a bit unlucky.
But they shouldn't have been kicking the ball away, that's for sure.
Tom Collier gets the 50-metre penalty and will line up for the second goal of his career. Hasn't kicked one this year.
That's a big 50.
He might need it.
He'll get the distance very easy. Long kick, Tom Collier.
Back into the team this week. Third year on the Brisbane Lions list. And magnificent.
He could have slipped down the rankings very quick if Ted Richards got 50-metre penalty paid against him.
I'm just worried about Mitch Clark, how he got out of the mix to be at centre forward clear by 20 metres then.
To the square. Brennan bumped out of it. Pike takes the mark. It'll be Brennan's free.
Yeah.
Just, I think it was it Heath Grundy that came across, tried to disguise it to put a block on to help Mike Pike take that mark, but I think it was Grundy just he took Jared Brennan out. See him come across here, eyes weren't on the ball, and that's the thing. You've got to at least give the umpire something to hang his hat on by putting your eyes on the ball and at least putting your hands up, pretending to go for the ball.
Perfect start for Brisbane coming up. Perfect start for Hawthorn. Sydney, of course, need to win this to get their home final. The Hawks, if the Swans go down tonight, it'll be against Sydney, Hawthorn's home final. A lot of game to be played yet, though. Kennedy, Rowan. Wide, and the mark to Sam Reid. First touch, and it was a perfect touch.
It was a good grab. It was not much space between him and Tom Collier, and it seemed like a reasonable spoil as well.
And a good kick to the corridor.
Play. Was it what? That is very confident.
First mark and first kick in league footy says a lot. Off hands. Jack shoots toward goal. It's bending back. Awesome kick. And he's an awesome player. Handball up to Lornberger was good, but it put him under pressure. It was from Harwood, who had to do the giving. Sure, he got the call. Young player had to give it up. It was the right thing. Jack towards Sam Reid. Speaking of young players,
well done.
Does it got to free? Got to be a free.
Well done from young Sam Reid.
Jetta inside 50. Trent Dennis Lane.
Oh, he can play this kid.
Gee, he held his line there. Well, go through it, Alistair, just the way he used his body.
Well, he got into that sort of used to be a defensive position, so he had the space behind as the drop zone for the ball. The long kick was a good kick into that space. Here's Ash McGrath has been smashed by Adam Goods. He's very sore, but it was good to protect the drop zone with his left arm, Dennis Lane, and took a very good mark.
He's up and going, Ash McGrath. He's one tough cookie.
For the lead. They needed that. That could be the fire starter. Out. Little too wide for Proud. Good race on though. Malcheski got there first. Matner. White. Short. Kennedy. He might be facing his old team, Hawthorn, next week. Short, Sam Reid again.
Oh, they've got to put some time into this kid. It looks like Merritt's got the job just laying off him. You've got to have some respect for a player. Oh, well, not on that occasion.
First mistake of the night. Harwood. Staker. Leuenberger. Not sure who he was faking there, but he messed himself up. Shaw, Kirk, Dennis Lane.
Oh, he finds space. He doubled back then, Dennis Lane. As soon as that turnover looked like occurring, a smart player will run backwards instead of running forward as a forward. And here it is here. But I tell you what, Reid's had an impact. So even though he made a mistake there, you've got to put time and have some respect. And Kirk set up by Reece Shaw. Dennis Lane finds space again.
That was good work from Kirk. The inexperienced player just blazes away towards the goal square. But Kirk just pulled the kick and hit his young forward in Trent Dennis Lane.
for his second, and to give the Swans back the lead. From 45, there's the accurate kick we spoke of. He's had his cider, now he's in form. Got it. Slippery as always. McVeigh, little two-possession string here for Jetta. Oh, and puts the afterburners on, as he loves to do.
Well, that's what you want to see for a young player. It's got some pace. Take on the tackler.
Richards wide. Smith. Grundy.
Yeah, Adam Goods is the target here. He's got good position on Staker.
Yeah, Staker had to turn around. He did well, Staker. Got a fist to it. Goods got back. Got ball. And got a push in the back.
Well, it's a push in the back, but you've got to say, great effort from Brent Staker, and he's been able to hold Adam Goods. He's one of the superstars of the competition to 2 disposals in that first term. And it was just a desperate bid to try to put some pressure on.
Go back to Jetta, because Jetta, by running with the ball, became an 80-metre player, and he broke the lines by getting it out to the wing. I think it was Malcheski first. But then when that started, he started that initial onslaught, and he had best position all the time, Adam Goods.
He did. But Jetta, going back to Jetta, we spoke about 8-10 weeks ago that he needed to run and carry the ball a little bit more. He was just nervous, as you are when you're only a young player trying to get a game in the AFL. But now he's got his confidence up. He's starting to really carry the ball.
Sydney's biggest lead of the game. Sneaks it in. They lead by 11.
Off.
Flick down. McVeigh almost Merritt. He pinched that. Pitches some space. Adcock straight down the corridor. Poor side for Riscatelli because Matten was on the run. O'Keefe. Kennedy. Thumps it along to McVeigh. Just inside 50. Maybe beyond his range.
He's got to play loose. Now he's easy.
Waves a couple away and gives to Jude Bolton.
Yeah, Jude Bolton had found some space. He'd run from the other side of the ground, had no direct opponent. McVeigh actually held the ball when he first saw Jude Bolton, held it up till he got a little bit closer and a little bit more space in front of him.
Gee, they're dominating midfield now. Black only with 2 possessions, Powell with only 4. So, you know, they're not getting enough drive from the contest at the moment, Brisbane Lions.
For the biggest lead of either team for 18 points. Sneaks it there. Saw that Brisbane Lions coaches box. Lynchy, one man who won't be there next year. Craig Lambert also departing.
No, Craig Lambert's been at the Brisbane Bears, Brisbane Lions for a long time. He arrived at the same time as me. I think he was a reluctant recruit to Brisbane. He was hoping to go to another club, but it's been a fantastic addition both on and off the field for the Lions.
Leuenberger, perfect pass. Polkinghorn.
That is a beautiful kick from a ruckman of about 200 centimetres, maybe a bit more, to keep the ball that low, pick up where the lead was going to be, the space that had to be kicked. Have a look at that. That is splitting the eye of a needle.
And we've seen a bit of this from Matthew Leuenberger, and I think that's the expectations were that this guy was going to come out of the under-18s and really explode onto the scene. It's just taken a few years and a few opportunities. Now he's going beautifully.
They've been desperate for a goal for about 10 minutes. Polkinghorn provides. Collier back into the team this week. It's a last chance. McGrath. Lewis Jetta there with him. McGrath to Proud, who goes, feeds back onto it. Bevan overcommitted. Magnificent tackle, Smith. Wrapped him up. Banfield outside of the foot.
There he is, Dwayne.
Pulls a rabbit out of the hat.
He's one of those handful of Brisbane Lions youngsters that are coming through with Rockcliffe, Redden, Polkinghorn, Banfield. Heap of pace. There's a free kick at the centre bounce. And it'll go to Mitch Clark.
Paul Ruth won't be happy with that. Clark thumps it long. They could take the lead here, the Lions. Pack flies. Banfield to Proud for the lead. He rolled it through. Lions in front. The target. Grundy. His kick not so good. Rich. Spin it before it earned it. Gary Rowan almost. Rich gathers. Plucked by McVeigh. Fantastic contest to watch right now. Meredith, O'Keefe, White, Kirk, Rowan. Sidestep. Into trouble but out of trouble. Sure. No prior opportunity. Drag down. Ball up.
Gary Rowan. He is super quick, Gary Rowan. He's got to keep using his speed. I think he's lacking confidence now. He's been up and down in the seniors, but that is his great strength. He's got to be told, once he gets the ball, take him on.
Clark and White. Bolton, McVeigh slips the tackle, extracts the kick, but it's wide. Ball in. Pike playing full forward at the moment for the Swans. McVeigh a little wobbly on his feet.
Very much like the first quarter when they were just testing each other out in that first 7 or 8 minutes or so of the first quarter. It's happening here in the third.
Toe off the deck from Riscatelli. Staker almost took a head with it. Jack slipped it around the body beautifully. Trent Dennis-Lane.
Here he is.
Front position, and as soon as he saw Sydney Swans from that stoppage picked up the ball, he headed forward, saw the tumbling kick coming in, and that's where you need to be, in front when those bit of a floater off the boot comes in, and that was a good mark. And this kid looks like he was going to develop into a very good player for a long time for the Sydney Swans.
Playing on Pierce Hanley, just wonder where he's got too many. He's put his smarts for Pierce Hanley at this stage of his career. Even though he's a youngster, you just know he uses his space and finds it beautiful.
He's not that young. He turns 22 on Monday. It won't be Mad Monday for the Swans, though. So he won't be celebrating that. But he can celebrate that. Goal number 3. 15 minutes gone, third term. If you did tune in late, Reid and Rowan in late for the Swans with Hanbury and Kennelly late exclusions.
Oh, great attack on the
O'Keefe
ball.
dives in.
Had to be
Hanley
for a
just as
kick.
hard. Pike. Dennis-Lane. Richards. He's got the runner wider.
Got the left
O'Keefe.
footer.
McVeigh ties up with Adcock. Wins that battle.
That was a good contest. He's used his body on a couple of occasions very well under the high ball today.
Is that 50?
No, he ran into it.
Jetta. One-on-one's ahead.
Oh,
And that's 50.
that's against Adcock, because the last contest where McVeigh gave it to Adcock, he said he was pushed off. He's abused the umpire. Now this is a very undisciplined act. See what Michael Voss, how he reacts to this.
And by your captain as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point arguing, as frustrating as it is. And I saw the incident that he meant.
He
And it
probably
was,
might have been right, but you don't do it.
McVeigh pushed his left arm up into the throat of Jed Adcock in that marking contest.
Well, he's kicked 4 goals 20 this year. He's been the goal-kicking story of the season. But he's got his mojo back. Shoots it out to Rockcliffe. Nudged, played for the free, didn't get it. Stolen by Kirk. Rowan takes on Brennan and wins. Pike, superb.
Leading forward
Now
now.
he has been very good, Mike Pike.
Chips it to Goods, who fumbles another one. Jetta turned into Riscatelli's tackle. Moore scoops it up. Reid, Malcheski doesn't get a chance all that often. Makes the most of them when he does.
And dominated possession.
Let's
in
have a look
this
at Mike
third
Pike
term.
in this ruck contest.
Little flick down,
Yeah,
Goods.
that's
Merritt knocked it away. O'Keefe looked at the big sticks, gave to McVeigh. He gets a chance to size it up. That's in. They can spell a home final.
And certainly do some exciting things, Jared Brennan. Yeah, he's just came down on that left ankle.
Tell you what, if you lose Riscatelli and Brennan, it's some class acts to try and fill the spot.
Jack.
Without draft pick or big draft picks.
Well, it is. It makes it very difficult.
From halfback, Jetta jumps. Power got there in time, and Merritt took Jetta out. Free kick.
So I tell you what, Daniel Merritt, he needs a massive pre-season next year. Had a lot of injuries this year, but his performance, he's been back for a number of weeks now, and it hasn't improved.
Grundy took on Rockcliffe. Matner, a team so well. Open side, Malcheski. No Kennelly tonight for that back line, but they're still running it and running it well.
Every player in the defensive half of the Lions that push right back to try to stop the Swans getting that easy inside 50 entry.
Matner, Grundy, short Jack. Goods wide.
And traditionally, the Swans have done this better than anyone over the last probably 10 years, really. Their patience just to chip it around the arc, as they did on that occasion.
Tries over the head of Merritt. Jetta. He kept that in. And Kennedy. Fantastic play from the youngster. And look at them go over to pat him on the head.
Gee, when Adam Goods kicked it, I thought, who is he kicking it to?
Yeah.
Daniel Merritt. And he's just picked the mark right over the top of Daniel Merritt's head here. And in between the boundary line, his opponent and Jetta, I thought, oh, no, not at the side of the boot. Brilliant play. Well done.
Well, he could yet win the round 22 nomination for the NAB Rising Star. Hasn't been nominated yet, Lewis Jetta, in his 18 games. Kennedy kicks the goal. And Forge further ahead, 32 points. On. Hanley. Jetta caught him. Clark. Simon Black. Just shoots it inside, hoping for Hanley, and he got a free. Arm slap free. Gee, that's a tough one.
I reckon he dropped this. I reckon it dropped off, and the umpire thought the spoil was the thing that caused him to drop it, Twain. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, no, he had turned his body around.
Well, they need some luck. They get some here. Pierce Hanley.
And I think Pierce Hanley helped himself in the contest because he did turn his body and became side-on contact.
He hasn't missed this year when having a shot. They still haven't missed. And there's life in this one yet.
Thanks, guys.
Collingwood look to have Hawthorn's measure as well.
Just thought Ash McGrath took the game on there, Dwayne, coming through the corridor with his speed.
Leuenberger, Brennan, threads his way through. And inside 50. Slap down Staker. In some space. Onto the right. Two in a row.
Oh.
Picked 38 last year in the draft. The brother of Collingwood's Ben Reid. So, footy in his family. In fact, he's got 5 degrees of separation to Sydney. Father Bruce played 100 games, of course, and his uncle John played for Sydney. So, he's got good footy blood, and he's certainly shown tonight he knows what he's doing, Sam Reid. In fact, he finished second last year in the new Nathan Buckley draft camp kicking test. So, I say you need good kicks in the game these days, and he is one of those.
Oh,
Good handballs as well.
Poor turnover. Stiller tries to fight on. Jack might do it off his own bat. From the pocket. Sends it long. How good's this kick getting? Got it. Sherman slaps it out. Redden. Manhandled. Got a handball up. Pierce Hanley runs. Almost run down. Handball not so good. Leuenberger. He's been the handball target all day.
Yep.
Kirk got it from O'Keefe. Kicks inside 50. Reid again. Slick. Jude Bolton just overran it. Kennedy knocked away from them all. Swans the numbers. McVeigh fed that back, made it hard for Moore. Almost back to the wing. He was tripped afterwards. Play on advantage. O'Keefe to Shaw. He could kick it long. He goes for goal. And he nails it. And the ball up. Time running out for the Lions now. Leuenberger again the running handball target. Banfield got a hand on it. Richards knocks it down. Bevan slung, didn't have it. Crowd voicing their displeasure, which they've done a bit this year. Off hands Power. Runs to 35 and keeps the door open.
We've seen plenty of that over the last month. Their ability to compete and find their teammates has been very good.
Brennan, get it out of the area, but it'll be coming back. Grundy. Down to 10.5 minutes. Everybody on the edge of their seats at the moment, just waiting to see whether they can put this one away. Bevan. Carlton fans are waiting. Hawthorn fans are waiting.
Gee, that's sloppy.
And Jack.
You know, that's come about. Ash McGrath's been used in midfield, Dwayne, and he is off the boil at the moment. He's been played out of defence most of his career, and he's been in midfield for about 10 minutes. This man's run him into the ground.
This could be the sealer. He kicks this. Will send Sydney, you'd think, into a home final. It'll be 5th versus 8th. They'll play Carlton next week at ANZ Stadium. He sends it long. And sends it strong. Little shimmy was good. Short. Brennan.
He's been a bright light this year, Rockcliffe.
Yeah, and should probably finish second behind Hanbury in the NAB Rising Star, although he might give it a scare according to some. Hanbury not playing tonight to add to his stocks. Bevan takes off. Jetta will give him a shepherd. He sends it high. Sam Reid, he gets there and he might kick his first goal in AFL footy.
He might be nominated for the Rising Star on this performance.
Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. He kicks this. He's putting his hand right up for next week. And
Isn't it great?
He's been an exciting young player. Had a little bit of the ball, 8 marks. Just round off a good night, a victory and a goal.
First goal in AFL footy was never in doubt. And he gives his chances of a first final a huge shot in the arm.
Hey, Jesse!
Adcock. Good.
That's the other area of the game they have to improve over pre-season. Their thought process, skill level.
Now Chesky to Trent Dennis-Lane. Maybe one last bullet in the gun for Sydney before they head to September. Kennedy short, and that's a bullet past to O'Keefe.
He's had a fantastic year again, Ryan O'Keefe. Had it probably a month to 5 weeks where it wasn't working for Sydney Swans, and he had his lull. Of course, they control the stars like him. But the thing about he's gone in the midfield now, he's played tagging roles. Where he was tagged, he's gone to great players, played on them, and this is what he can do. Go forward and be a dangerous marking forward.
To make it a 16-goal night for the Sydney Swans. Squeezes it in, and it'll be a monster win in the end. It's about to be all over for Michael Voss and his boys. They will finish this season either 13th or 14th, depending on what happens tomorrow. But for the Sydney Swans, they're finals bound. Martin Mattner takes the mark. It's the beginning of the end for Paul Roos, the end of his last home and away season, but the beginning of his last final series, and it could be a fairy tale end for those men. Who knows what September holds for Brett Kirk and Paul Roos before they say goodbye. Finals in 7 out of the 8 full seasons for Paul Roos and a premiership. And they are a contender. They finished 5th at the end of 22 home and away rounds, the Sydney Swans. And they will play the 8th place Carlton at ANZ Stadium in Sydney next week.
How good is that?
Simon Black and Brett Kirk.
How good is that? 2 Warriors going head-to-head. Simon Black, they would have done this probably 20 to 30 times over their career, and just the respect shown there. And even Mitch Clark going up to Kirk, of course. He's loved by everybody and he deserves it. He's been a Warrior for that long.